I couldn't decide what I wanted to work on today. There was 3 different projects that I had in mind. 2 had to do with the island. The first one with the island was the lighthouse. I like the position of it, but I think it can be significantly improved, and we're actually going to work it into the actual island structure, so that's going to be a pretty cool project. And the other one involves more water details, specifically over here by the beginning of the causeway. We've got some undetailed rock work over here, some exposed green and untreated blue base plates, so I think we can improve the look of this area and start to connect our detailed water. Because if you just get all of this detailed here and connected to the detailed water over here, it's going to look so much better. Plus we've got some like gaps happening here, which don't look too good. So I've got to try and fix all that up. So I think just to, you know, satisfy myself and the Lego City in general, we're going to take care of this today, but stay tuned because we're going to be taking care of that lighthouse in the near future as well. There's a couple things I need to do before starting this project. And the first thing is find all the black plate. So I've been digging through here, finding all the black plate, also the blues and azures and everything that we can use for water detail. This is something that we've just like did the preliminary sort on just by breaking it all down by like part type. So this is all plates. So as I dig through here, I am trying to sort it. So put like dark gray with dark gray, etc. But yeah, it's very convenient that we already have it all broken down by plate. There's not a whole lot of black in here. Like there's definitely quite a bit, but I don't think there's going to be enough to get the job done. But I've got to go through here and pull out all the 1x, all the 2x, 4x, 6x, etc. and just put it aside so when we start to do this water detail, we have it. And then I also can go through here today and part out all this stuff because this used to be involved in different water detail or in a different water detail project. So I just need to go through here and get all these pieces so that we can reuse them in the ocean. Mrs. Bricksie and I were doing a calculation today on trans light blue 1x2 tiles. How many do you think are in here? We weighed 100 of them, and then we weighed all of our inventory. So this is 2,540 grams approximately. This is just about over 8, was it, Jose, 8,800 tiles in here? Approximately, about 9,000 tiles in there. To tile off the entire island, like all the water, we're gonna need approximately 28,000. So we need 20,000 more tiles to tile off the water for the island. So we're working on it, but this should get us fairly far when we get to that step. For the most part, it's all quite deep. Like this is all underneath the causeway. So this is all going to be dark blue and black. So you got the lighter colors up against the sand there, transitioning into dark. And I just went through and laid all the big pieces first. And unfortunately, we don't have very many big dark blue pieces. So I'm literally filling it in with like 2x4s, 1x5s, and stuff like that. But after I get all the big pieces laid, well, then I go through with all the smaller stuff. So like right now I'm going through with 1x4 black and just looking for any spots where a 1x4 black piece might look good and just sort of filling that in. And then I'll just work my way up. Like next I'll do 1x2s and then 1x1s and just sort of go from there. It's just like a really random process, just filling it in and making sure that it looks sort of decent and makes sense. And then once you add the tile layer on top, it sort of covers it all up. So it doesn't have to be perfect because it's like Mother Nature. So it's, you know, it does what it wants, or it does what it wants. It does what it wants. Yeah, that's it there. But yeah, just going through and just filling in all these studs. It's a timely process, but it's definitely worth it. The next thing I need to do is grab a bunch of like small blue elements and fill in all these gaps in the shallows. So like the blues and the dark azures, and fill in all this green here, because that's where we'll have a combination of like dark azure blue and transitioning into like the dark blue. But yeah, just piece by piece, you get it covered up. There we go, the water detail is done. It is so satisfying going around with the 1x1s and filling in all the remaining space. Also, I grabbed another plate here. This is with the road plate because that goes up against our little concrete boardwalk there. And I wanted to make sure that the water actually matches up. So it gets pretty deep here right off the hop. Like it's the blue color, then dark blue, then black. Whereas over here, we've got some of the azures up along the rock. I also removed all the slopes from the rock just because I wanted a fresh start. The bricks were sort of staggered. There was like holes in it and stuff. So I said, okay, let's make this all consistent. I'm gonna smooth out some of the edges using some 1x brick and use a bunch of slopes and curved slopes. And I'm gonna come up with a new rock design, just something a little bit different here. Almost like this water has been crashing up against this rock and the retaining wall and sort of smoothing things out. I just want to try something a little bit different. We have some curved slopes in our inventory. I may as well try and use them. But I think like where it's 2 studs, that definitely needs to be reduced to like 1 stud. So just put some 1x brick in here, just so we can get a nice gradient of slopes around this whole curve. We got 3 modules, big water plate, road plate, and then the upgraded rock work. I think the curved slopes work really well, especially with the pops a little green and plants growing among it, but I think the water is just like beating up against that. Psh, psh, smoothing it out. It works. So that's another 2, 4, 6, 7.5 plates-ish, somewhere around there. Not bad. Now we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, plus the stuff up against the rock work to go. Okay, I foresee a problem. We're gonna run out of dark blue, but let's see if I can make it happen, everybody. I'm gonna pull these plates up next and work on those. So yeah, removing the trans light blue tiles from the black plate has definitely slowed down the process. But it needs to be done, so it is what it is. But yeah, it officially takes forever. Longer than it already did. Plate by plate, we're getting there. But unfortunately, we're running out of large plates, like the 6x8s. The 6x8s are where it's at. Use one of my big art separators and just send them flying everywhere. Make a big old mess. Getting there though, 1 plate at a time. Still have another bin of plates that we need to remove the tiles from here, but this is all the tiles I removed from those black plates. So scrounging from that plate bin there, and then I think the real problem is going to be the dark blue. We're going to run out of dark blue, unfortunately. What I decided to do is actually go around and take all the 3x3 plates that were holding all of the base plates together. Like there was random 3x3s on all the seams, all the way around the entire island. And that freed up a bunch of 3x3 blue plates. So that was good because I was able to use that to complete this massive section there. Look at that. It's worked up under the causeway toward the beach and up to the rock arch there. Pretty sweet, looking pretty good. I decided to add some more water detail to these plates as well, going up to the rock work, but I did leave some space in front of them just because we're going to be tapering this rock work because right now it's just the rock panels. So I've left like 4 to 6 studs so we can do like a staircase effect of multiple bricks just to help blend in that rock work so it's not so up and down. It's good to leave that space there, but it just goes from like the blue, the dark blue, blue again, and then gets shallower toward this little island. I started doing, actually I did that sort of tapering over here on the beach. It sort of works out. Still have those rock panels in behind, so we've got like a nice solid foundation to work up to. And I think doing that pretty much along all of the rock work is going to help blend it in and take away that harsh upward angle. So before I add more water detail, I've got to take each individual piece, so like this giant module up the dust there and build it up. So I'm not going to continue adding more water detail until we get around to tapering the rock work. But there you go, look at that. The water is looking substantially better in this area. And once again, those rocks looking much better. Obviously, this isn't quite done yet. We've got a lot more detail that we need to add to this area, such as the waves, the light blue tile that goes on top of the water, and we can also do more within the rocks. We can create stories, we can add animals, we can add minifigures, but within the process of building a Lego city, I always leave those like finalized details until the very end, because those finalized details, they sort of get in the way as you're moving plates around and stretching and reaching and adding plates to doll up the water and all that. Check it out, we got a little coffee with the biscotti stir stick. Delicious. And I reinstalled the causeway as well. There we go. How many base plates of waterwork was that? I don't know, quite a few, wasn't it? Like 12 or even more. Not bad. So now we just have to connect the detailed water from here all the way around, connecting to the beach. But first, I've got to treat this rock work and decide where our boat docks are going to go and where our ferry pull-in is going to go as well. No sense in detailing the water until I know where that ferry pull-in is going to go. And then we've got to connect from over here and all the way around island number 2. But first, I've got to revise this rock work here, and I'm going to do something with this lighthouse like I mentioned at the very beginning of this video. Well, once I take care of those projects, then we can detail the rest of the water and move on to the tile phase with over 38,000 1x2 trans light blue tiles. And then the water phase of the project will be done, and we can move on to the next phase, which will be probably rock detailing. Maybe adding some caves, adding vegetation, slopes, and just like more detail to the rocks in general. Yeah, step-by-step process, but we're getting there. Look at that. Over the last, week? We've been able to detail all that water. So we're way more than 50% done in regards to adding the water detail. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this update. I'm on to the next task, which actually involves mountains in the center of the city. We're starting to calculate, and in order to calculate, I need to start the base construction for a mountain. So that's my next task. It should be the lighthouse, but hey, I want to work on something different. I feel like all I've been doing over the last while is detailing water. So we're going to move on to some mountains. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff, and have yourselves a great day. Bye for now.